Going on, Jerome's. So the question heading into last week was who's going to start a quarterback? Was it going to be Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullens, or Jaron Hall? And they did go with Nick Mullens, the veteran backup, the guy who's been QB2 whenever his back hasn't been an issue over the last 2 years under Kevin O'Connell. And it reverted to, hey, look at me. Look at me. I'm the quarterback now. But the whole thing about Nick Mullens is that, hey, we knew what we were getting into because Nick Mullens went to Southern Miss. Nick Mullens idolized Bert Favre. Nick Mullens broke a lot of Favre's records at Southern Miss. And you knew that he wasn't going to be like that Chase Daniel, Chad Henne, just like check it down, backup quarterback. You're hoping, maybe. But we said before, during his time with the Niners, he was a gunslinger. That's what he did, man. And he lived up to the billing where there was some good, and there was a fair amount of bad in the Vikings' alleged 27-24 overtime loss against the Bengals. Walk like an Egyptian. But Mullens, 26-33 for 303, 9.2 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 3 sacks, 42.3 QBR, 99.9 the fan, quarterback rating, and also skedaddled for 10 yards, right? So on its surface, like black and white stats, it looks like an okay game, all right? But just breaking it down into the minutia, like again, there was some good, there was some bad. So bad, 4 interceptable passes, 2 of them were picked, and the one interception that he had to the defensive lineman is probably the worst interception I've ever seen. Also, it was so funny watching him on the sidelines saying to O'Connell, "Hey, I threw it." Yeah, he still caught it, dummy. Because I think that he genuinely thought that it bounced into the guy's arms, and whatever. Either way, it didn't work out. And the worst part about it is that 2 turnovers were in scoring position. One in the red zone, one certainly within Greg Joseph range. So that's rough. And also, the interception that he threw to the D lineman was right after taking a sack in a spot where you should not take a sack, and that sack was certainly on him. 2 out of the 3 sacks on the day were on him, just holding on to the ball too long, and that was a problem with Josh Dobbs as well. But again, the 2 turnovers in scoring position, basically the Vikings left 6 to 14 points on the board. And it's just, you can't have that. And, I mean, you think that those points would come in handy in a game that went to overtime. The 2 touchdown throws, they were fun, but they were inadvisable. The first one, the fadeaway jumper to Addison, but it was a great place ball, a spot where only Addison could get it. The second one was just throw the ball away. I understand it ended up being a touchdown, and it was a great play, but I mean, scramble drill, thrown across your body, thrown back into traffic, that's a recipe for disaster. And again, hey, wonder who the guy looked up to in college. Although, it's not like Brett Favre rolled on through against his body into traffic in a big-time spot as a Viking. Not that we've ever seen that. He did complete 78.8% of his passes. Operated the offense generally efficiently. Although the offense looked really good when he was handing off to Ty Chandler. I don't know why they got away from that in the second half in overtime. But solid placement on most of his balls. That was the main concern with Dobbs, is that just placement. Like accuracy, throwing with timing, it just wasn't there. But Mullens did have that respect. Chemistry with J.J. Hawkinson and Addison. I mean, the offense looked like a Kirk Cousins offense, and Nick Mullens looked like a diet Kirk Cousins minus. I mean, Kirk will make some stupid mistakes, except Mullens made a couple more. Tush push, he was not pushable by the smallest guy, although he did make on the traditional quarterback sneak on the 3rd and 1 before Cincinnati allegedly got a timeout in. Respect. The offense was driving at the end before it got to that 3rd and 1 spot. He was making a couple plays, and it did seem like the Vikings were going to get into range for Greg Joseph to kick the game-winning field goal. But verdict, he was a more accurate Dobbs. And again, the problem that we had with Dobbs is the inadvisable mistakes with the football, and Mullens did exactly that. Like, hey, in a spot where you're taking a sack, just don't throw the ball straight up in the air. Because what's the best that could happen? Okay, incomplete pass. Woo. And you save a couple yards, which, fine, whatever. But also the downside is that you throw just an atrocious interception. And, Dobbs did that a couple times. Mullens did that on Sunday, and it's just, it really sucks. And I know a lot of people will put the tush push on him, but also, hey, Kevin O'Connell, why are you doing the tush push behind Bradbury, who's not a people mover at center, as well as why are you pushing with the smallest guy on the team twice? Especially when you got C.J. Ham, especially when Hawkinson was out there, especially when Ty Chandler's been running the ball fantastic all day. And also the excuse that he wanted to keep the same personnel on the field. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, man. Yeah. But overall, I do think Mullens did fine. I think that he played well enough to win. Again, you're going to have the good and the bad. It would be one thing just to have an inert, just a perfectly level backup quarterback. But again, that's not Nick Mullens' game. It is not. But in this spot, would you start Jaren Hall against the Lions? I would consider it, but also, like I said, Mullens made some very stupid mistakes, but also he made some great plays, and the offense looked very efficient when he was in there for the most part. So even though I love me some Jaren Hall, if Sunday's game is Waterloo, it's the Alamo, it's a must-win, I think I would go with Nick Mullens again. Yeah. But again, it was very telling that Kevin O'Connell did make Jaren Hall quarterback too. So I think it's a spot where kind of similar to Dobbs against the Raiders, where, hey, Nick Mullens, you're going to be out there, but if you make a couple stupid mistakes, if you're not playing within the game plan, if you're going out there just being a gunslinger, and Jaren Hall's going to get in. And if somehow, some way the Vikings allegedly lose to the Lions on Sunday, start Jaren Hall the last two games against the Packers and the Lions again. Just go from there, man. But overall, those halftime points, you knew that those 6-14 halftime points that you left on the board were just going to come back and kill you. But it is what it is. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. How did Nick Mullens do against the Bengals on Sunday? Let us know in the comment section below on Saturday. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.